Journeys Ahead 2 Lineage Chapter 2 Little Miracles. Written and narrated by T.S. ProArt. Clack, clack, clack came a continuous hammering sound that echoed and bounced off all living creatures and plant life. Clack, 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 all across the deep snow-covered woods behind Aurora City. To a wanderer, they could have easily mistaken it for a gun being fired off, or perhaps the fallings of deer hooves smacking against rocky riverbanks. However, the truth was much more than one would think. As a gentle December snowfall began to descend down upon an already winter-drenched earth, a duo were hard at work within an open patch of the woods. With hammers and tools in hand, both Void and his now upgraded robotic companion, Jet, were knee-deep into creating a dream home. It had been a little over 10 years. 10 years since Void made home in Aurora. It was crazy to think about for him. 10 whole years of being home. The Spark himself had gotten much bigger. He was 25 years old now, and held the same calm face as he had once before. He had no longer been wearing his battle armor. Instead, he opted for a more casual attire. Around his torso, Void wore a calm blue leather jacket that had a tan brown undershirt beneath. Around his legs, he wore a bark-colored set of jeans that ended in similarly colored shoes. Blowing in the wind from around his neck was Jida's necklace that gently whooshed up and down amidst snowfall and orange glints. The last thing of note had been the hammer in Void's left hand, as he used it to slam nail after nail into the soggy wood. Yet, with each smash and clash that came, a tiny glint of golden light reflected off the winter haze. Light that shimmered off a wedding ring. Within that 10-year time span, Void had asked for Jida's hand in marriage, in which she too pulled out a ring, leaving them both laughing hysterically, but happy nevertheless. 2 years on, they've been wed together. 2 years of beloved peace. Wooden pillars and planks had been crafted up from the ground, forming the skeletal base for a soon-to-be cabin. During the Christmas just a little over a year prior, Jida had brought up the fact that she really wanted to create a home for themselves, that being a cozy cabin not too far off from the city. It had only been now that the Spark decided that it was time to make that dream a reality, for a special someone was soon to join him, Jida, and Pofnu's little family. "Master Novason, would you care for some assistance over there?" Jet politely asked, looking to his creator that sat upon an upper wooden beam. The robot was no longer a computer screen attached to a plethora of junk. Jet had been greatly improved over the following years since his conception. He was now an upright, humanoid, lanky but fit metallic form that could hold his own. Jet had still been fully constructed from the parts once used in Void's supercomputer to track the glitched, making the robot extremely intelligent and self-aware in his own sense of the word. Everyone loved the joke that he was their own little butler bot, and Void couldn't deny it. Being painted in shades of low saturated blues and bright oranges, Jet's TV screen head smiled while his newly gloved robotic hand gestured for himself to aid his maker. But Void simply brushed him off in a decline. "I appreciate it, buddy, but I got this." Raising his arm up with his hammer in hand, Void tapped a sharp nail into a massive plank of wood, lodging it hard and deep into the cabin's skeletal form, all while with a prominent smile upon his face. "Very well. Call me if you need assistance," the robot assured, before stretching his arms up and flipping to the top of the skeletal roof, proceeding to rapidly hammer in nails faster than you could say Novason 5 times backwards. The day at hand had been a mixture of shivers and small hints of warmth. Snow layered the ground, nearly being ankle-high. Snowflakes drizzled down upon the brighter-than-light world. Pine trees and leafless trunks swayed in the wind, while very minimal animal life hooted and or cooed from the depths of the forest. A gentle river stream calmly splashed on from behind, or rather in front of the cabin. As the snow continued to gently fall upon the spark, he took a long moment before breathing in and out with a sense of accomplishment. Never had he expected to be in such a serene yet amazing position. 10 years ago, he was at ground zero, alone and lost. Today, he not only had friends, but a real family, people that loved him as much as he loved them. Void was truly happy, and he wouldn't have had it any other way, especially with the special someone that made her presence known mere seconds after this trail of thought. Blue! Jada's words called closely from behind. Blue! She asked again, as the distant sound of snow crunching beneath her feet could be heard for all to hear. Speak of the angel. Void said with a pleased tone before hopping off the support beam and landing in the snow while turning around. Facing towards the trees and riverstead, Void perked up with glee upon seeing his wife slowly marching her way forwards with a 14-year-old Pofnu at her side, who looked to have just gotten out of school. A canoe was resting behind the water's edge, suggesting they had rowed their way over. With steady steps, the fox and guitarist, or rather now radio station host, marched up a small incline towards her spark, who gently descended to help them maneuver forwards. Well, what brings the Witch of the Woods and her little beast to embark upon these parts? Void chokingly asked, leaving Pofnu scoffing, and Jida to roll her eyes with a small chuckle. Asks the troll who's building the mud hut in their path. Jida joked back, leaving the three of them to laugh, ending with Void and Jida sharing a kiss. Hey kiddo, on Christmas break? Void asked as he reached a hand over and rubbed Pofnu's head. The spectral fox was much older and stood at a solid 5'5". Her once blue fur had grown into a beautiful shade of white, while her pink hues stayed the same, albeit glowing with a special kind of power. The teen was wearing a soft rose-pink jacket with a cream-colored hoodie attachment, accompanied by a softer peach-colored skirt. The fox wore a maroon backpack, dark leggings that ended in ruby boots. Glancing up with a beautifully combined set of swaying hair, Pofnu nodded her head and spoke. Sure am, Spark Dad. Nodding and then looking to the side, the Spark took note of a small wooden boat by the river stream that gently swayed in the wind. I see you took the canoe, Void mentioned as he took his wife by the hand and began to help her ascend the slope. Gently with one foot after the other, Jida, with her other hand clutched around her rather enlarged stomach, nodded and tried her best to ignore the cold feet below the snow. She still wore her father's necklace and a pretty average set of clothes. Jida had on a long, soft-hand orange crochet silk dress that was tied up in a handkerchief around the waist. Atop her head was a new beanie of the same color, this one still having her old musician pin on the side. The guitarist had on long red pants and brown boots, all she needed for the winter weather. Warping is off the charts for the time being, remember? So we used the location station back in Nock's workshop. Real nifty creation you two cooked up. Jida expressed before she and Pofnu gazed upon the outlined skeletal shape of the cabin. And nifty craftsmanship here too. Jida expressed through an astonished face as she gently leaned her head against the Sparks, who couldn't help but accept. You're getting taller, she whispered, as Pofnu went to talk with what she began to call her robo-bro, Jet. Smiling, Void nuzzled the side of his head against his wife's, letting the warmth of her now shorter and curled-up hair press him into a gentle summer's grasp. I'm catching up to you, I'll pass you at some point. The spark returned before asking, So, what brings you all the way out here? Taking her head off Void, Jada stood a few inches back and held her stomach with both hands in a gentle manner. She then shrugged her shoulders with a small gesture before speaking. 1, Nock needs your help with something. 2, I wanted to see how you and Jet were doing. 3, you haven't said hi to our baby today. Jada stayed with a smirk as she gently rubbed her now noticeably large and pregnant stomach. The one who wielded cosmic fire was now nearing the end stages of a pregnancy. Her stomach was at the max, and she would be due in any day. It just begged the question as to when. A gentle yet lenient purple glow of constellations faintly swirled from behind Jada's sweater fabric, showing that the new-to-be-born spark, human or whatever, would most certainly retain aspects from their parents, only notes being that of Void's blue-colored energy with Jada's cosmic fire, the same power shade that flared when they worked in absolute unison. Smiling with a nod, Void approached and knelt down to be head level with Jada's stomach. Softly leaning forwards, he placed both of his hands upon her left and right hand stomach sides before caressing his forehead against the glowing aura. As they touched, Void felt his soul swirl with warmth as the sensation of his child pressed back, not as a kick, but as though their tiny head rested upon their father's. I think they missed you. Jada said with a giggling smile, leaving Void to tower back upon his feet. And I miss them, as well as you today. He replied with a tired but albeit blessed expression. Alright, let's go help your brother with whatever he needs. Turning, the duo began to slowly make their way back down to the canoe, but before they entered, Void turned and pointed the jet before asking, Hey, you alright with working on that on your own for a bit? Looking up, Jet's computer screen face flashed into that of a thumbs up, before he swiftly went back to work. To this, Pofnu bid farewell before turning heel and returning to what she considered as her adopted parents. Awesome, the Spark replied before helping Jada and Pofnu seat themselves down. Void then took a paddle by the canoe's seat side and got in. With a grunt, he pushed the three of them off and headed down the calm river stream. As the waves carried the couple forth, Void rode from his left and then to his right, following the stream, whilst also occasionally glancing upon Jada, who was sneaking glances at him, Pofnu, as well as her stomach. Like a cat in her lap, Jada brushed her hand across her belly's rounded shape, feeling her child's energy and letting the warmth of said child fuel her soul with a form of love Void couldn't comprehend. The bond between a child and their mother was something only they could understand. All Void could do was just smile at the prospect of what the future could hold. He had never been so happy. Jada had never been so happy. Do you feel the gentle waves, little one? The calming sensation of your father rowing us forth? Jada asked down to her little one, before looking out to the wilderness at her sides. Not too long now. These woods will be your backyard. A place where you'll play. A place where you'll learn. Most importantly, a place where you'll be happy. Jada added as she craned her wintry eyes up the Void, who solemnly nodded his head with a blushing blue face. Me and your father, your sister Pofnu, Uncle Nock and Cot, Aunt Sarv and Uncle Tuck, Brother Jet. I know it's a mouthful, but we'll all take good care of you, shower you with unconditional love, teach you the wonders of the world. Oh, just you wait, little one. I can't wait to meet you. Jada expressed once more as her hair flushed into an orange glow. Void, have you thought of a name for our little miracle yet? Perking up and gently setting the paddle down upon his lap, Void sat slightly hunched while looking upon his wife, and then just shrugged. In my culture, it was always the mothers who got to decide upon the names. As you've come to know by now, baby sparks take a little over a year to develop before birth. So it was customary to allow those who carried them for that long to make the choice on what to name the infant. Void revealed, leaving Jida to tilt her head with a sudden new knowledge of his people's traditions. Oh, I didn't know that. Guess that makes sense, Jida expressed as she rubbed her stomach once more. But this is our baby, Void. Surely you must have thought of something during that time, Jida expressed with a heartfelt smile towards her husband. Well, I would be lying if I were to say I hadn't thought of anything. To tell you the truth, Freckles, I think our baby's gonna be a girl. The spark began as he set his sights back upon Jida's stomach, watching it shimmer and glow with its purplish blue hues. If you insist so, I would like her name to be Jane. Blinking with another head tilt, Jida glanced from Void and then down to her stomach once more, before rubbing it again. Jane? Jane. I like that. Really. But something seems to tell me that our little one is gonna be a boy, Jida replied with a smile, leaving Void to return the look with an eyebrow raised. If so, I was thinking about the name Jay, Jida then revealed, leaving Void to ponder. He softly gruffed out. Was that I like it gruff or an I hate it gruff? Jida inquired, leaving Void to raise his head once more and smile. No, I just didn't expect it. But I like it. Jay Voidson. Yeah, that has a nice ring to it. Taking the paddle once more, Void began to row the three of them forward once again. The snowfall continued downwards as per usual, while the glimmering light of the sun shined down golden rays from in between the trees. Birds chirped, and even deer danced on by the river's edge, really making things feel all the more peaceful. Jida, however, suddenly asked a question that Void couldn't deny answering. So, if the girl Sparks got to name their children, why did Celeste name you Void? Nodding his head, the Spark lifted his paddle out of the water once more and thought for a moment, reflecting on the past and recalling as to why he was named the way he was. I believe she named me Void to keep in line with her and my father's names. Nova and Celeste are shortened terms that you relate with outer space. Nova Star's celestial observations. It was no coincidence I would be named something similar, the Spark explained as he looked up to the sky. So she decided to name me Void, another term one would describe as the endless space that housed all the stars and worlds that surround us, I guess. Void explained, making Jida nod in an understanding and enlightened gesture. I see. I guess that would mean they saw you as the world that surrounded them. You know, keeping them together? Jida then inquired, leaving Void to shrug again. That's one way to look at it, but names can mean anything. It's hard to say what the actual reason was, but unfortunately, I'll never know. Void finished as the three of them continued to float downstream. So, if you were named Void, then what was the meaning behind your brother's name? Core, right? That doesn't sound very space-like. Unless I'm wrong. Jida then asked, leaving the Spark to ponder for a moment. He actually knew the answer, but he had to find the right words to describe it. My older brother was named Core because he was the centerpiece in holding my family together for a long time. You see, in the early days of relocating, after the ages of fighting battles, the Sparks struggled to survive and find their footing before coming across Alvaheim. From what my parents told me, Cor was only an infant during those trying times, but he was the glue that kept my parents going forwards, the core of it all. Void expressed with a little smile. Without him, I doubt they would have had the strength to continue on. He's what they probably called a miracle child, if anything. It was apparently hard to have kids during that time. Void finished once again before taking the paddle and pushing them to shore. I see. Well, I gotta ask another thing. Why choose the name Jane, Blue? Jida questioned as the Spark got out of the boat and proceeded to help Jida and Pofnu out as well. It simply sounds cute when saying your name beside it. Jida and Jane. You gotta admit it has a nice ring. Void expressed as both him and Jida locked hands, while Pofnu marched forwards. What about you? Why the name Jay? Void then asked with a head tilt. Turning, they all faced a ring-like device that was mounted in an open clearing, a prototype teleporter machine called the Location Station, simply crafted by Void and Nock to make transportation easier, but mainly created to help Jida prevent warping and hurting the baby in any way, shape, and form. She could still teleport if she wanted to, but she feared bouncing her child may cause some problems before birth. Jay was the middle name of my little brother, Jackson J. Woods, Jida revealed as they both walked up to the location station. I see. That holds more merit than me finding something cute. Void responded before reaching out, clicking a few buttons upon a keypad, and opening a rift to Nock's workshop. A bright teal-green glow quickly swirled to life in a whirlpool formation that led the Void, Jida, and Pofnu squinting from its blinding aura. Don't say that. I think it's touching you had me in mind when thinking that. But, hey, time will only tell what we're going to call our little miracle. Reaching down, Jida rubbed her stomach once more before kissing Void's cheek in a loving gesture. With a nodding gruff from the Spark, they all turned to face the portal, and together, marched through, leaving the woods and heading back to Nock's motorcrafts.